Thokozani, Hotep Royals. Come along, come along, come along. School is in session. Thokozani Royals. Maurice, how are you? Thokozani. Please, guys, tap the screen as you come in. I've got some news. Haha. No. I've got some news for some people. Some people may already know some of this stuff, but I just think that given what's going on out there in the ethers, I think that we need to delve a little bit deeper into this issue of who controls your time, right? This issue of what calendar are you using, and do you know what you are doing every time you say January? Okay, we need to talk about these things because I think that it's one thing for us to celebrate our African calendar, but I think even more important is for us to understand why it is critical for us at this point in history, at this point in time, to go back to our own calendar. You know, it is often said that who controls your time controls you. Right? Please keep that in mind as we do this, because I want you guys to be fully conscious so that as we move forward, when you are saying certain words, you understand that it is an invocation. Remember that words cast spells, words invoke, words have a certain vibration. And like I've said to you, we are in the season of Neptet. When you call Neptet, there is a certain vibration at which you meet Neptet. The same with colors, the same with metal, the same with her stone. These are connecting tools. So I want you to keep that in mind as I explain to you why the Gregorian calendar is really messing us up. And I'm going to do this in a series because I don't want to cram too much information in one video. I'll make it kind of like the Ancestor series, where I'm going to take a couple of months at a time and give you some historical facts about those Gregorian months versus how we as Africans, based on the knowledge of our ancestors, work with time. And you will see very clearly how that calendar is actually working against you because it works to keep you enslaved. It totally misaligns you. It doesn't just misalign you or us as bakwaNtu, it misaligns even those palm-colored creatures, and I'll explain why and how. So, for example, the Gregorian calendar actually comes from the Roman calendar. The Gregorian calendar was a calendar that was created by Pope Gregory XIII in about 153 before Common Era, BCE. Prior to that was what was called the Roman calendar. And this Roman calendar had the first month in March. That would align perfectly with spring in the Northern Hemisphere. But King Gregory thought, no, well, March. What is that? March was that first month, March. The name March came from the god of war who was called Mars, bloodthirsty. All their gods are blood. All their gods are bloodthirsty. And they say it themselves. I didn't make this stuff up. So Mars was the god of war. So when Pope Gregory came in, who was, because they're also bloodthirsty, but that's another story altogether. He came in and he thought, no, man, for the first month of the year, we can't be celebrating this god of war, Mars. He bad. That would be bad luck. So let's just say we're going to celebrate the two-headed god, Janus. who is the god of beginnings and the god of endings, often depicted with two faces, one facing backwards, the other facing forward. So it's a god, actually it's one head with a face this side and a face that way. That is Janus. So you guys who are all gathering for the 1st of January, you're celebrating Janus, the two-headed Roman god, and who was also quite bloodthirsty, because there was, in his festival, which was on the 1st, it was a celebration that was sexually charged, where there was a lot of animal sacrifice, and it's actually what they call a festival is actually a ritual. So because they were doing it to this spirit, Janus. So lots of debauchery, virgins were de-virgins, those who ate babies ate them, that kind of party, lots of drinking. The Romans were known to be hedonistic. The word hedonism, hedonism, comes from the Roman word, which means basically anything goes. It's men with men, it's women with men, it's women with women, it's men with animals, it's women being forced with animals. It's a mess. It's just hideous. So that is what you are all paying homage to on the 1st of January when you go, happy New Year. I hope that sank in really well. Now, that is January. So you see how even the palm-colored creatures all over the world are misaligned. They are misaligned because how does midwinter become the beginning of things? In the African calendar, we know that the new year begins in September, when all things begin anew after winter. You see, our calendar is not based on people. So the Gregorian calendar basically is based on Roman festivals, Roman leaders, Roman gods, and numbers. Numbers? Just a number. October comes from octo, which is 8. It's October 8 or 9. I don't even know, man. This whole thing messes me up. But whichever. So what I'm trying to say to you is the Roman calendar is a man-made calendar, courtesy of Pope Gregory XIII in 152 BCE, who decided that, man, let me just shift time around. Let me just shift things around a little bit. For what? Social control. So I've told you January, and I've warned you about your celebration. Some of you are getting ready for the New Year's Eve party and then ringing in the new year. Watch yourselves. Watch yourselves. There's a lot of energy harvesting that goes on at that time. And once again, bakwaNtu, you are giving yourself energy. You're giving your energy to entities you know nothing about. Except that, it's a two-headed god. Two-faced god. One facing backwards, one facing forward. A contradiction in terms. Why would a god have that kind of energy? Like, guys, these are all spirits. Right? It's a spirit. So consciously or unconsciously, when you are pouring libation and you all do that champagne thing and what are you doing? You are elevating and energizing this spirit. And then a lot of you are like, oh, our ancestors are demonic. Y'all don't know demonic. Let me tell you. You'll know demonic by the time I'm done with you. As I'm done with you, you guys will know. You will know demonic. Okay. So then comes the month of February. Where does that name come in? I said I'm going to do them in little groups so that it's not too much. February is a Roman festival It is a purification ritual that involves violence, blood. It's sexually charged. There is a lot of debauchery and at the end and drunkenness. And at the end of it all, men are given permission to go to people's homes for those who hide, because it must be terrifying, especially for young virgins, because they are now allowed to go through all the homes at the end of this crazy festival and pull out and diversion virgins as part of the celebration. Moreover, there is a lot of, they slaughter a lot of cows. Apparently, they take the cow hide and they make whips and they go, yeah, but the Romans, you guys, they were crooked. They go around the whole village or through the whole land, beating people up with raw cowhide. Imvubu. For those who are Sizulu, you know it. And just go. It's all part of this festival. This festival is celebrated on the 15th of February, and you are calling it Valentine's Day. Guys, because it's February 14th, but 14th, 15th, there's another one called the Feast of Lupercalia, which is the 13th, 14th, which is another feast, which is celebrated at a cave called the Lupercal Cave. At the mouth of that cave, the same kind of thing. Human sacrifice. There they sacrificed infants. Babies, baby girls in see this, the patriarchy started there, infanticide, female infanticide. They would be sacrificing baby girls there, lots of drink, lots of debauchery. Yeah, the Romans loved that kind of thing. They're the ones who created the Roman baths. If any of you know about the Roman baths, which have been imitated in cities like Atlanta, I hear Johannesburg has one. These are places where men go. Men, we're talking lawyers, doctors, whatever, to do what in those Roman baths? To have sex with other men. And unreserved. They don't need to know each other. They just need to check each other out, because all they do is run around there all butt naked, and then you pick the one you want, and then you do the do, and then when you're done with that, you can switch if you want 3 of you to do. It comes from the Romans, the Roman baths. That was what those places were. So when I tell you that we are all governed by Roman time, celebrating unknowingly, and now you know. You see, if once you know, you know. You've got no excuse. Celebrating horrible Roman festivals, for those of us who've been unconscious for so long, and paying homage to Roman leaders who were all evil, and Roman gods who are all evil. And tell me, how do you think or want to believe that we as bakwaNtu are going to be okay? How? So, February has Valentine's Day, which, again, be careful. I've warned you. Why do you think for all these holidays the color is red? Have you ever asked yourself this? Why is the color red? Valentine's Day, it's red this, red this, red that. Christmas time, that whole Christmas period, what is the theme or color? Red, red, red. Have you ever asked yourselves why? Because there's a lot of pouring out of blood, both animal and human blood. This particular feast of Capercalia, I always say it wrong, not Kappa, it's Lupercalia, is a specific feast that was done with all with all that going on. The feast or ritual for Janus, again, all their feasts and rituals are marked by the shedding of blood. We will proceed with the other months as time goes on. I'm going to stop here because maybe I need to keep these I need to keep these brief as well. But I really just wanted to come here because it would be irresponsible of me, knowing what I know, not to come here and just warn you guys. The choice is yours. All those new... And these gatherings, all those New Year parties you go to, and there's a specific way that people are celebrating these things now. You do a countdown and then you toast and you drink. Imagine, to this deity called Janus, everybody all over the world, except the conscious, except people who have their own calendar, like the Chinese and the Jews and the what's, they are conscious that all this is ritualing. A lot of these people are not taking part in this. But because bakwaNtu have been so lost and so removed from our roots and our source, most people even had no idea that this calendar existed, which is based purely on nature. I keep insisting for you, this is not a man-made thing, in the sense that the energies and principles we're talking about are the energies and principles that created life on this planet and that created the cosmos. It's not about some human being or some deity that demands blood. None of these deities demand blood. None of them. Except Sekhmet when she goes to war. But Sekhmet is a healer. There's no Neteru of war. She'll go to war as part of healing. She'll mess things up that are not attuned and aligned with Ma'at. And her season comes very much in the season, which is June back home, where people are burning grass, old dry grass in the winter, so that the new grass can come up. When the rain starts falling, when? In September. Do you get? So, very different concepts. There's nothing man-made in this. This calendar, every season we have is confirmed by what is going on in nature. You just need to go and see what is going on in nature in the Southern Hemisphere. It is pure nature. This other stuff is based on palm-colored creatures' ego, on their drunkenness, on this perceived power that they have, that they can manipulate the whole world by manipulating time. Like I said, the palm-colored creatures here are not aligned too, because the new year is March for them in the Northern Hemisphere. The new year is March. Not January. I'm not even saying it properly because I don't like invoking that name. And I know that we have to, it's there. But if you are conscious as umuntu, you know that we are functioning in this system, but we're not of this system. Make that a mantra. I am functioning in this system, but I'm not of this system. I am functioning in this system, but I'm not of this system. Make that a mantra until it doesn't matter whether you're reading January or February or March, which is Mars, the god of war. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because running through your subconscious is the fact that you are functioning, but you're not of it. You're not partaking in it. Because we right now we are trying to move out of it so that we live a parallel system. We don't have to live like this. But for the time being, while we're making our way out, we are functioning in it, but we are not of it. Never allow yourself to feel like you're trapped in the system. You're not. You are a free spirit, a free muntu spirit. And you get to create that parallel. We function in it, right? Some of us are already on other dimensions, 5D, 6D, 7D, but we are still functioning within this, but it can't touch us because we're not of it. It can't lay claim to us. None of these weird gods and gods and what, they can't lay claim to us because we are not of them. We know who we are. A deep knowledge of self and a shift in consciousness will assist you. Otherwise, it becomes, I feel, overwhelming, especially if there are things you don't understand. That's why I thought I'd take this opportunity to say to you people who are busy wishing other people, please don't wish me Happy New Year. My New Year was in September. My New Year was in September. We are in the 4th season of our African calendar year. So, hey, it's the same people who are sending me those that holiday messages. I was like, you know what? I'm a block people. They think they're doing a good thing by wishing me merry what? Ain't nothing merry about that. I'm not of it. I purged that stuff years ago. Like literally did a ritual to purge. I took 5 liters of water, put some coarse salt, spoke over it to say, I am purging the flesh and blood that for years I've been partaking in, not knowing that it was human flesh and blood transmuted by alchemy from bread and wine. And after that, I was done. You can get yourself out of this mess. You can. You don't have to stay trapped. Because staying trapped in this is staying trapped with them. And when they go down, you go down with them. You have your own ancestors. You have your own knowledge system. I won't even call it belief because we have knowledge. We don't do belief. We know who Asa and Aset is. It is the moon. No? Asa being the sun, Aset being the moon. We know our ancestors' science. Don't let them fool you to say that Africans didn't know science. This calendar is literally based on science because everything in nature and the way nature moves and the frequencies that cause certain things to happen at particular intervals is all science. Our ancestors used images and so on to represent certain energies and frequencies so that even a farmer in the field could understand it. It didn't need to stay so esoteric and so out of reach that it lost people because we lived by it. A farmer knew when it was the season of Asa because he checked the clouds. He saw that the trees were now starting to sprout and green. He knew now it was time to start preparing his land. We, on the other hand, are going to need this tool because we are so far removed. Many of us would observe this phenomena in nature, but not be aware that there's a certain energy or principle or even element. Think of the elements in the periodic table that is responsible. What does that look like? Asa is hydrogen. Hydrogen is the first element, first of the year, first meaning the new year. So there's a high concentration of hydrogen from spring. Its highest concentration is in the summer because why? The summer solstice, where the sun is closest to earth, and therefore it's pumping a lot of hydrogen onto the earth because the sun does what? Burns carbon to produce hydrogen, which is really the source of all life here on this planet. All other elements are simply multiples of hydrogen. Oxygen is several hydrogens, right? Carbon is 6 portions of hydrogen. So I want you to know and understand that our ancestors had this. It was stolen from them by plagiarizers who then messed it up. You've got how many elements in the periodic table? And there was at some point they kept adding. None of it makes sense. But if you take that periodic table and you reduce it to make a child understand that all of these elements are nothing but multiples of hydrogen, That child will understand organic chemistry in a heartbeat. Because what is chemistry? It's the study of chem, the study of who, the study of blackness. Stolen from us. When you understand the depth of what these people have done, we are the people of the sun. We really are the people of the sun. That's why the sun can never hurt us. And in the next 5 years, the sun is coming closer and closer to Earth. Guess to do what? To get rid of things that are unnatural. What is unnatural on this planet? Because we know some people were created in some cave somewhere, some creatures. So already there's a phenomenon, and I've posted about it on my on several of my social media, called sun poisoning. It went from normal sunburn, I get sunburned, to sun poisoning. They get sick. They get sick. They get swollen. Like the skin literally now peels off. They blister up so that it looks like bacon. Maybe it's that pig gene. Let me you zip it. Swallow. Okay, so are we together, bakwaNtu? Are we together? I need you to understand, because if you don't understand, then I'm not doing my work. I'm not doing my work, and Umoya is going to. I need to make sure that I'm doing my work. So I think for this first installation, are we good to stop it here? And then tomorrow I'm going to bring the next installation. Let's try to do them 2 by 2 by 2 by 2 by 2 by 2 by 2, right? Until we finish. And then I'm going to repost this on the YouTube. It's not getting lost. So if you then later want to recap, or as the months go on, you want to go and watch, that's entirely up to you. But I'm going to be showing you what you are taking part in so that you can consciously divorce yourself and marry yourself to this system. Ne? And for those of you who don't have the calendar, if you go on Twitter, if you go even here in my link tree, you'll find a way to get it. I think that when you have it in hand, it is easier to stay aligned because you literally live it month by month by month by month. Right? Some people have the table calendar too. That's fine. You even start getting into the habit of saying, we're in the season of Nepted. And gradually with time, we will start calling our seasons instead of using these other names. But in the meantime, you can still divorce yourself from it by consciously being aware that you function in this system, but you're not of it. If you keep that as a mantra, you're going to be just fine. Okay? So I'll see you guys tomorrow, where we will deal with the next we'll deal with the next imihlola. Shocking. I love you guys. So